Greetings, travelers. I'm Khryztof, and this is Travel the World. Today I'm going to talk about my first road trip abroad to Copenhagen, Denmark. It's located just north of Germany, but don't make the mistake of bringing your euro coins, because as of my trip in 2015, they only take Danish crowns. These coins and bills got me all confused when purchasing things because 1 crown is equal to about 14 cents. So if something costs about $5, it might say 37 DKK. People would say to me, Copenhagen is so expensive, but unless you could do the math quickly, you might just hand over 40 crowns and not think, oh, it was only like $4 in the States because it started with a 4. But really, it was closer to $6. Well, I don't know. One thing that goes around is that Copenhagen is ranked one of the happiest cities in the world, and I'm going to talk about a few places that I explored that seemed to make me happy. One thing you notice as soon as you get off the train is the fact that everyone bikes everywhere downtown, and there's almost no traffic. Even when it was pouring down rain, everyone was on their bikes, and there were so many different kinds of bikes. We decided to rent some beach cruiser type rental bikes that rented for about $1 an hour. And eventually these style bike rentals would make it to the US, but sometimes I rented some in the US that were like $1 per minute. So we stopped at places like the Town Hall and the World Clock and the shopping district and the palaces, and we saw the changing of the guard. Another way to see a unique view of the city is the canal cruise. Freetown Christianity began as a squatted former military base in 1971 and evolved into a type of commune. It's known for Pusher Street, where little kiosks sell marijuana and photography is forbidden. It's a little sketchy, but it felt like a safe spot to walk around as long as you were minding your own business. One friend of ours in the States told us we could just walk in anywhere and everyone would be your friend, but it seemed to take more than that to become adopted into their society. I think that I read that they used their own currency, so when we went there and we were hungry, we went into a house that looked like a converted cafe. There were people sitting at tables eating and drinking, and when we went to the kitchen, we looked at how much cash we had because they weren't taking electronic payment. And we looked at the potluck style setup that they had spread along the counter. We asked how much a plate of food would cost, and it was more than what we had. We showed them our coins, and we were able to negotiate about a plate of food that we could share, both of us. We weren't really sure what we were eating, but it was pretty tasty. I do think that if nothing else, the graffiti in Christiania is pretty cool and worth checking out for the photo op. Nijmegen is the 17th century waterfront canal and entertainment district. It stands out because of the brightly colored townhouse style buildings that are lining the harbor. There were lots of old wooden ships lining the canal, and we ended up taking a cruise through the city. There were a lot of bars and cafes with outdoor seating along the harbor, and there were places you could imagine buskers setting up and playing music or dealing wares. It was raining while we were walking through, so we actually didn't stay there for too long, but Danish author Hans Christian Andersen lived in Nijmegen for 18 years. Tivoli Gardens opened in 1843 and is one of the oldest operating amusement parks in the world. It's located across the street from the Copenhagen Central train station, so it's possible to pop into the city on the train and spend the day there. It's said that Tivoli was partially the inspiration for Disneyland, and in most aspects of the park you could see where there was some influence. It's an old school amusement park, and it would be really easy for someone to write it off who was looking for an overindulgent Disney park. But Tivoli Gardens was quaint and felt authentic. It felt genuinely like you were traveling to a different place and time, and not because it was the theme of a blockbuster movie, but maybe because it wasn't. There were a few roller coasters, one of which was the Rutschenbahn. It was built in 1914 and still had a brakeman controlling the coaster from the front of the train. It was a classic wooden out and back, and if you're into that sort of thing, it was awesome. If you want to hear more about my time in Copenhagen, leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll do a part 2. Check out all my adventures at traveltheworld.com, and remember, keep traveling and keep spreading love around the world.